I'm Adam Watson.
I'm Julian Watson.
This is the Dark Slayer Mafia Power Hour. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Komikwerks presents Thrills and Chills. I don't know where the hell I got this thing from.
Oh.
Yeah, I was going through my graphic novels, just giving things a read, see if there's stuff that I want to keep or not. And I came across this. I, for the life of me, just have no idea. Did it come in a lot that I bought? Did I buy it at a Comic-Con? I don't know. So with graphic novels, we're doing them slightly more review style than what we do with the single issues. We're not doing complete flip throughs. I'm also not going to go through the complete list of every single person who worked on this because, as you can see, it's a lot. Instead, we're just going to kind of focus on what I think are the best short stories in this. This is an anthology title. Now, the one thing I'm going to say right off the bat, Thrills and Chills. Short stories of horror, humor, action, and fish. This thing has like every genre in it.
Oh.
And there's no connecting thread whatsoever. When it says Thrills and Chills, I kind of expected something a little bit more horror themed, right?
Yeah.
That being said, there are some really good things in here. But it's not cohesive as far as an anthology goes. It doesn't feel connected. So the first story in this, The Silent Swordsman, was pretty good, but it's not one of them I'm going to feature. I'll just kind of show the pages from it. This story, Mirror Image, this is probably my favorite thing in the whole entire book. It's written by Keith Giffen and Shannon Denton. There's a few names in here that are actually recognizable, like Giffen, for instance. The art is by Matt Jacobs, who's not a name I recognize, but I absolutely love this artwork. It's lettered by Kristen Fitzner Denton. So yeah, I'm going to have to look into Matt Jacobs and see if he's still creating comics or not, because I really like this. I think this looks cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it starts off simplistically enough. It's set in a Wild West era, and there's a postman who comes around, and every time he comes around, a woman gives him a flower that he places in his hat. There's nothing more to it than that. It's just a gesture. It's not romantic. But her husband, who looks like a fucked up Wild West Sabretooth, watches from the window just jealous as fuck every time this postman's around. And his jealousy starts making him do things that are pretty fucked up. As the postman comes by and delivers letters and receives his flower, he starts working on a mirror. A mirror that he then sacrifices animals in a ritual to spell. She thinks that he's giving her this gift is just like a beautiful gift for a husband to give his wife. But he's a little bit too fucked up for that. So he gives her this mirror he's forged in blackness. And I really like the way he's like drawn, watching her all menacingly. Yeah. And she looks so innocent the whole time. The artist really did a good job selling that whole thing. He gives it to her and leaves, setting a trap for her to, in his head, have an affair with the postman. But they weren't having an affair. She just invited him in to be warm. He wasn't hitting on her or anything like that. Yeah. But upon seeing all this, he flies into a fit of rage, murders the postman, which that's brutal in the best ways possible, and then murders his wife. I really like this close-up on him. Yeah. That's really good. Unfortunately for him, when he made the mirror, he didn't know exactly what he was doing. And because he's the blackest thing in the room, the most wrong thing in the room, what the mirror traps is his soul. Huh. So, good short story. I like that one. But then, see, this is where it kind of gets uneven. This is really good artwork. Yeah. But does it seem like it should follow that story we just read?
No.
No. This is an interesting one, but not quite interesting enough that I want to showcase it. So then after that story, you're greeted with yet another one that's kind of like this cartoony style. And it's a really good style. I like this style. It just doesn't seem like it fits, right?
No.
And yeah, I'm not gonna go into that one either. Then this story we will feature. Population 37. So this is more of what you come to a book like this expecting.
Yeah.
This is written by Evan Young. The art's by Tim Chupka. Chupka. Letterer is Patrick Coyle. So it starts off with a doctor driving in the middle of the night. The artist did a really good job making her actually look like she's extremely tired. She accidentally runs someone over in the road. Not knowing what to do, she loads the girl that she ran over into her car and goes to the nearest house, only to find out that the girl she ran over is still perfectly alive. So they've been cursed by natives who they stole the land from, which is causing them to live forever. Yeah. And she's the first person who's accidentally wandered amongst them in centuries. At first, she doesn't believe that they can't die. And then she starts to see things like a woman who's been pregnant for 150 years. A guy, Robert Gallows, who has attempted to kill himself more than anyone else in this town, and he slits his neck in front of her, only for him to just keep on going living.
Yeah.
So eventually she settles down into the town knowing that she can't escape it. Once you're there, you can't go. They get tired of waiting for her and decide to abduct her in the middle of the night. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
After abducting her, they put her into a pit. They start pouring boiling water onto her and torturing her in other ways so that she can know the life that they've had. The whole point in them doing this is they think that she can finally be the one to kill them. I'm not sure entirely what it is that kills them. That point wasn't done very well, but everything else about the story is. It's just I know she kills them using this, little tiny bit of a spoiler for the next page, but I'm not sure why this kills them or why they couldn't kill each other with it, right? But after 5 years in the pit, she decides she will go ahead and kill them. So they all line up tied to the totem, and she stabs them one by one. And then afterwards, she's released. She's free to go back to her old life. But it implies that she's now an angel of mercy type doctor. You know what that means?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you notice, she's got heavy scarring from all the boiling water and everything being poured on her for 5 years. As she would, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then after this, we're greeted to yet another kind of cartoony looking one. This one I am going to feature, though. So this is Electronic Boys Hate Clockwork Girls. Written and illustrated by Kevin Hanna. This is a completely wordless comic. And it features robot boys who are meant to just carry boxes in one row and clockwork girls who are meant to carry boxes in another row. One day, one of the robot girls trips and one of the robot boys sees it. That causes him to deviate slightly from what he's supposed to be doing. I'm not sure what the hell this thing is that's watching him.
Yeah.
If it's like a sentry or something. But it seems to notice that he's not doing what he's supposed to, right?
Right.
Picks him up with its claw. And discards him, like breaks him in half. Yeah, it seems a little bit brutal for, But as he's laying there helpless, trying to get his legs reattached, I believe, none of the other robots will help him. They just keep walking past him. even those who look just like him. Until the little clockwork girl who he had taken notice of when she dropped her box earlier, she sees him and decides to go over and help. So, sweet little comic, nice ending. Does it belong with the other stories in this, though? I would argue it really doesn't, you know? Then we have The Road to Hell. This is written by Dwayne McDuffie and Matt Wayne with art by Rick Parker. So Dwayne McDuffie is a well-known writer who I really like the work of. I was a little bit hesitant to get into this one as I'm reading it, though, because look at the lettering on this.
Oh.
Yeah. The lettering is massive, and whoever did it didn't know how to actually form balloons around the words and things like that.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised because, Dwayne McDuffie is a well-known professional writer, and then you see lettering like this on something he wrote. It doesn't quite fit, right?
Yeah.
And the artwork is good, a little amateurish, though. That being said, the story is actually enjoyable. So it involves a girl going down to hell, trying to get Satan to go on a date with her. She keeps complimenting everything about hell, but he's just complaining because nothing works right here. The temperature hasn't been consistent in decades, and this is supposed to be a pit of boiling lava, and instead it's just people floating in liquid. So yeah, the molten lava isn't molten, as you can see. The restaurant she thinks is good, which is a problem because restaurants in hell are not supposed to be good. And then they end up having a lovely night together. This is quite a nice rendition of Satan,
Yeah.
But she's not there in the morning. He can't figure out why. It turns out she was sent down there by someone. Don't know exactly who. It kind of implies these people might be some form of angel. This guy's name is Michael. But it doesn't really state. It does talk in here at the end about how this is going to be continued in the Road to Hell graphic novel. Unfortunately, that never came around.
Oh.
I don't know if... I'm not sure the exact date this came out, and I'm not sure the exact date that Dwayne McDuffie passed away. But that could be why, because he did pass away. Or maybe it didn't get finished for another reason, or maybe it's one of those things that's finished and just sitting on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, because it actually was really enjoyable after I got past the lettering. The lettering was a bit of a problem. Dark art written by Aaron Soud, James Denning, and Lance Karutz. I'm guessing is how you say that. Art is by Jared Bivens. This had quite a few writers on it. Not very many short stories you see that have 3 writers on them.
Yeah.
So this starts off with a painter holding a portrait of his wife as he melts into the painting. That's effectively drawn. You can completely understand what's going on in the splash page. So it then goes back in time a little bit. And if you notice, this woman who's sitting in his chair looks like she's actually being held captive, right?
Right.
That's because she is. He paints on human skin. He cuts chunks of skin out, stretches them for canvases, uses blood as paint, makes paint brushes out of bones.
Yeah.
And one day, when he's up to his dark arts, he accidentally slices his pregnant wife in the belly, which he didn't mean to do because by all accounts, he does seem to love her.
Yeah.
So he rushes her back home and makes a canvas out of his own stomach and then starts painting a portrait with her bones and her blood. The portrait ends up taking him, consuming him before he can finish it. It then shows us various time periods where this painting has been sold and hung in all these different places. He's inside of it and fully aware of everywhere he's at.
Huh.
While he's hanging in any of these rooms or auction houses or anything like that, but he can't escape.
Yeah.
Until an artist comes along to finish the painting. So at a garage sale, this man buys it for his wife. She doesn't like it. She thinks that they look like they're dying, which they were.
Yeah.
But the husband wants her to finish it. She's been wanting to practice, and look how much empty space there is in this canvas. So he's now positive that he's found his artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Short and sweet. There's 3 of this particular tell in this. They're varying levels of how good they are. The artwork is good in all of them. But the lettering starts off nice and legible in this particular one.
Yeah.
And then becomes so small that it's almost illegible by the third one.
Oh, that's really weird.
Yeah. I Won't Die, written and illustrated by Tom Fox-Marnick. So this is a simplistic 3-page story that's just about a guy who's terrified of dying. He thinks about dying all the time. When he drives his car, he imagines cars crashing into him. When he's walking down the road, he imagines tripping in front of cars. I can relate to this. This is the type of thoughts I have all the time, too.
Oh.
But he's so afraid of death that he just keeps living. He doesn't like the idea of dying. So he doesn't.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of a short, simplistic one. I like that one.
Yeah.
And then I'll be honest, I didn't read this one because I'm not into fantasy. So I just I read the first couple of lines of dialogue and then just kind of skipped over it. Santa Muerte, written by Matthew Sand, art by Shannon Denton. Shannon Denton is a name that's in here quite a few times. Lettered by Kristen Fitzner, Denton, and Patrick Coyle. Those names both repeat throughout this too. So this is actually a pretty good detective pulp type story. Yeah. Which seems a bit weird with all the other horror tells, but hey, whatever. Yeah. So this story follows a cop who no longer believes in justice, finding an amulet on a dead body that he finds out is Santa Muerte, Saint Death. So he starts tracking down information on this, only to find out that Santa Muerte is a respected saint within this particular area. Everyone thinks that she's keeping an eye on them, keeping them safe. So all he really wants to do, though, is just find out who killed this girl. It turns out that her death is related to coyotes who sneak people across the border. And then he discovers that these coyotes will take people out into the desert and leave them for multiple days so that they'll agree to be indebted to the coyote for life. Damn. If they just make them leave the desert. The fucked up thing is that's something that actually happens in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he demands a name from the coyote of the guy who's given him the orders. Shows up to his house, and it turns out this guy doesn't believe in justice either. He doesn't care how many people he kills, and he reminds the detective that while he might be a bit of a dickhead, he did believe in justice at one point in time, and he's still a better man than this guy is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they start shooting each other, but unfortunately for him, he uses an old .38. He's the last detective using one on his force. Those only hold 6 rounds. So, despite the fact that he knows that he's out of bullets, he just keeps pulling the trigger, pulling the trigger, pulling the trigger, and bang, guy's head goes off. It would be reasonable to think that Santa Muerte helped him out with that, right?
Right.
But he, of course, doesn't believe that. He does believe in justice again, though. Yeah, so I did like that one. And then I think there's just one more that I want to show. This is second Blake's Lock. And as you can see, the dialogue is still legible in that. The main reason I'm not featuring that is because the third one doesn't stay consistent with that. I really did not like the lettering in this particular one.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit too sci-fi for me too. Bad Monkey. So this was my favorite thing in the whole thing. Written by Gary Rowland, art by Shannon Denton. Everywhere that this monkey goes, it causes mischief and mayhem. He's at the park, a kid offers him a banana. Instead, I don't know what he's doing to this kid exactly.
Biting the kid's arm.
Oh, okay. Well, why is he behind him like that, though?
Holding on to the kid.
Okay.
So can bite the arm.
That is what he's doing. You're right. He's a bad monkey. He finds someone who's trapped in a well. They need help. The monkey needs to go get help. But instead, he puts a bucket on his head and pisses down into the well on the guy. He's driving a little car. Looks very cute. Curious George like. Unfortunately, he's a bad monkey and he drives over old ladies. Old man in the park, heartbroken, dreaming of love. He comes up, gives him a flower, makes old man happy, and then humps his leg. Yeah, so that one actually made me laugh quite a few times. So this is where the lettering gets so small that it actually became hard to read in parts.
Oh.
Yeah, you see how tiny that is right there?
Yeah.
Who knows, it might appear bigger on the camera than what it does here. But yeah, I didn't want to read this thing with a magnifying glass. And I don't know what happened between the first two stories being lettered pretty decently for a digest this size. And that, you know? Yeah. So to show the size of this is a standard size comic right here. So what did you think of this? Is this something that you would check out?
I like the Clockwork Girl one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want more of the bad monkey for sure. You got anything else?
Nope.
All right, let's go make some comics. We didn't create the comics that were featured in today's episode, but we did create these. Check out Ghost Assassin in the Cards and the Chihuahua Who Flew Away mini comic, both of which were written by me. The Chihuahua Who Flew Away was illustrated
by me.